Hello everyone, my name is Mandi Lynn. I am the author of the young adult novel Essence, and I asked you guys for video requests, and one of the things that you guys wanted to see was the afterword of self-publishing and how people have kind of sort of reacted to it. So basically, as you guys know, my book Essence has been out for more than a year now, and the idea is to see how my friends, family, and complete strangers have reacted to the fact that I am self-published. So friends and family are very accepting, I guess you could say. It's different from before it was self-published, whereas before I would be like, I wrote a book, and they'd be like, oh, that's nice. And now I'm like, I wrote a book, and I show them the physical copy of the book, and they're like, oh, wow, that's really awesome. And everyone's really supportive. They think it's really cool. They like to ask questions, and the question I get all the time is, what's the book about? And that gets really old really fast. So that's a little annoying for me because I know the answer to that question and I hate answering it. And I think a lot of writers hate answering that question because they feel like they can't always sum up their book into one short little speech. But you have to do it. It's part of marketing and it's really annoying, but it's just a part of being a published novelist. Now, as far as strangers go, for when I say I'm self-published, I think a lot of the times they don't always believe me, but if I do hold that book out in front of them, they'll be like, oh wow, that's really awesome, the same way my friends and family react. I think an important thing to keep in mind is just because they're friends and family doesn't always mean that they have read the book. The majority of my friends have not read my book because they just aren't into reading. They always say they're going to buy the book, but they don't always buy the book. So it's one of those things where everybody wants to support me, but they're poor, so they can't afford to buy the book, and I'm poor because people don't buy the book. So it's one of those things. Being self-published is really strange because, for example, I come to college and I just want to have that normal college student life, and I do have that for the most part, but when people started finding out I wrote a book, they would come up and be like, so what's the book about? And that gets kind of repetitive after a while, and then it's always, sometimes you just want to fade into the background. And when you have people asking about how you marketed your book and all different questions like that, it can be a little tedious. I do workshops, so I'm used to the questions, but at the same time, it's like I want to focus on my studies, and then it's also weird because at high school, that's what I'm used to, and then when I don't get it here, it's a little weird. So it's a lot of adjusting. It's like a love-hate relationship to the fact that I'm published. The funny thing about when you write a book is that people expect you to be smart. And I don't mean oh, she knows the answer to that. I mean, they expect you to know everything sometimes, which I don't really get. I wrote a book, and writing a book and being smart is two very different things. Because when I write a book, I just make up stuff. I don't have to be smart to do that. Maybe for the self-publishing part, but I'm talking about just the book writing part. Because they're like, oh, she wrote a book, so she knows the answer, and that's not always the case. You're also expected to have good spelling and perfect grammar, which I also don't have. I'm actually very careless when it comes to spelling and grammar. More so spelling because I've just never been a good speller. That's what spell check is for, and people don't understand the fact that I don't have perfect grammar all the time. I like to keep my grammar, good, but it's not perfect, and I think some people forget that sometimes. But I would say the reaction to being self-published has been really positive for the most part. People are always very supportive, or sometimes they just don't really care. I haven't really gotten too much negative feedback. I know I have people who dislike me for whatever reason, and I don't really care. I say go about your merry way, but I also have the people who hear I self-published a book and they just couldn't care less. They don't congratulate me or anything. They're just like, yeah, whatever, you think you're so great. So again, the feedback has been mostly positive. I've been working on my second novel. It's really hard to do that here in college. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. But let me know if you guys have any requests. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave comments below if you've had any like similar experiences to me, if you've self-published a book, or if you're trying to and your family has just been reacting in a weird way. Feel free to let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching.